Hello, everyone. I'm Maddox Brown with New England MMA News, and I'm here with Jonathan Piersma. How you doing, John?
Doing good.
I'm doing. Thank you for coming on the show. Since you're new to the show, we're gonna start with how you got into the sport of MMA. So, how did you get into this sport?
Oh, I got into it kind of by chance. I was in college playing football. Had a few buddies. Wanted to go check out this gym they knew a guy at. We went and checked it out. Um, I really liked it, so I kept training. As soon as I was done playing football, started training every day, and then it just kind of went from there.
How did you find the current gym you train at right now?
That was that gym that I walked into day
Oh
one.
shit. All right, dope.
Yeah.
Uh, did anything inspire you to start your MMA career, like fighter or anything?
No, like I said, it's kind of just by chance, and I knew I needed something to compete in after I was done playing football. Obviously at that point I wasn't going to the NFL. I was playing D3. So I needed something to compete in still. And like I said, I just happened to walk into the gym that one day, and then started with a couple grappling tournaments, then an amateur fight, and then I was all in on it.
So now we're gonna get into your upcoming fight, which I'm really excited for. You're fighting Chris Perot at Combat FC 10 for the Combat FC interim welterweight title. Can you tell us what you know about Chris and how you see this fight going for you?
Yeah, not too much. He hasn't really had much for fighting time in his pro career. All his finishes have been pretty quick. Not very high level of competition. His last fight he did beat Sanders, who I also fought, was pretty good, but he caught him early, so there really wasn't much to see in that fight, and really wasn't much of a fight. But no, not much. I think he's got power in his hands. But I think I'm better than him everywhere skill wise. And I also don't think he has nearly, or I know he doesn't have nearly as much experience as me. So I think once we get past the first round, it's gonna be he's gonna be a little in over his head.
Uh, what do you think you're gonna have to do to get this win on June 13th?
Just go in there and do what I always do. I'm pretty confident as long as it's a fight, so anything can happen. As long as I don't get caught with anything big early in the fight. I'm pretty confident once we get past this first round. Like I said, he hasn't been there as a pro, and he's never fought anyone like me. So I think it's just going to be experience and just cage time is going to be the reason that I win this fight, and then as the fight goes, I become more dominant and dominant if it goes deeper into the fight.
Since you're coming off a loss, is there any added pressure? Like having your back against the wall, trying not to drop two in a row?
Yeah, I mean, I guess there's pressure with every fight, at this point in my career. Especially coming off surgery, with a layoff. The way last fight went, everything, kind of just a fresh start, having a healthy knee for once, is 2 years I was going on, my torn ACL. So finally be 100% healthy for once, is big. I think it's going to make a big difference. But yeah, I mean, there's always pressure. And, I don't really look at this as any different than any other fight, really.
Uh, who are gonna be some of the key training partners in your gym for this camp?
We got in my gym, we got, a pretty big gym. We got probably 12 or 15 amateur guys fighting currently right now. Probably one of my main training partners right now is Kevin Carrier. He's a pro fighter, 3-1. He actually has a fight coming up the weekend after me, so we're in camp together. He's fighting for LFA. Um, so yeah, we got a good gym full, and then I got other pro guys in the area I get work in with. But yeah, I got a lot of bodies, especially a lot of fighters in the gym. So I'm getting good work, and I'll be ready as always.
Uh, is there anything that you think Chris will show you that might cause you any problems in the cage?
No, like I said, outside of I think he hits hard. He's got power in his hands, so I gotta be careful. But that's any fight. You can't get caught with a big punch. But outside of that, I mean, I think skill for skill, I'm ahead of him in every aspect. Like I said, he's got power and you know, guy, but I fought guys like that. So outside of that, I think I'll be all right.
What do you think this fight's gonna do for your career moving forward? Can you see it like propelling you to the next level, or do you think you're gonna have like one or two more regional fights after this with a win?
I mean, I'm not really focused on that right now. I'm just like I said, getting back from surgery. coming off the layoff. I just really just wanted to get in the cage. So really, I was just looking for any fight I could get. This popped up, so he said yes. But yeah, just getting a win, getting back in the cage. That's really just what I'm focused on right now. I'm not focused on anything past that. Like I said, get in there and get a win. Good things will happen. So, yeah, I'm just focused and excited to get back in there. I'm not really, looking past that right now.
How do you think your past fights have helped you prepare for this fight?
Like I said, I think just experience, cage time. Like I said, I think he has. I don't even know if he has a full 5 minutes of total cage time as a pro. Whereas I fought this this is a 5 round fight. I fought 5 full rounds in a fight. I fought multiple title fights in other promotions. So I just think experience and cage time. I think that's just the biggest difference in this matchup.
Do you have one final message to Chris before you guys get locked into the cage together?
Nah, not really. I'm just focused on myself. I'm just focused on showing up, put in a performance I know that I can and I have in the past, being fully healthy for once. So that's all I'm focused on, just myself, showing up and doing what I do. And I'm excited to get back there and do what I've been missing the last 10 months.
What should any new fans at the Shriners Auditorium expect from Jonathan Piersma on June 13th?
Dominant performance. Like I said, I'm going to show there's levels. This is, I think this is the fourth straight opponent I fought that's undefeated. Um, and three of those four have been New England guys who were undefeated prospects, and every single one of them, I gave them their first loss. I don't expect this to be any different.
All right, now we're gonna get into my last couple questions. Can you share the most memorable moment of your MMA career so far?
Most memorable. Hmm. Probably I would have to say memorable, not necessarily in a good way, but my last fight in Vegas, on the road to the UFC fight, under bad circumstances, a fight I probably shouldn't have took because of the circumstances. But just being there and realizing I belong there, and knowing that if the circumstances are right, that's a fight I would have won. Um, but yeah, it just gives me extra motivation to work hard, get back on track, and get there because I know I belong there.
All right, this is a big one in social media. How many clones of you do you think would beat a gorilla?
Clones. I don't even know. We've been talking about this a lot at the gym. I think 25. I think 25 could do it.
Do
I
you think?
think what's that?
No, you can go.
No, I was just thinking about the whole like debate of 100 guy. I just think 100 is way too much. I think people are way overestimating a gorilla. Like 100 people, that's a lot.
Do you think 100 normal people could beat a gorilla?
I think so. Yeah. That's just so many people. Gorilla get tired.
And if you could compare yourself to any animal, what animal would it be and why?
Animal. Let's see. What animal? I would go with a bear. I like bears.
If you could fight anyone in the world, past or present, who would it be and why?
If I could fight anyone,
Yeah.
probably Charles Radke. I want that. I want that fight back so bad. So I'll
Hmm.
take that one. Hopefully in the UFC soon.
Is there one person from your gym you would go into a zombie apocalypse with?
Uh, Probably Relvis, my he's a pro 205 or training partner. I'd take him because he's a tank.
Do you have any special shout outs to sponsors, supporters, and teammates before I let you go?
Yeah, just shout out to all my sponsors. I'll be making posts here coming up soon, but yeah, just all my sponsors who stuck with me in this layoff. Um, all my training partners, family, friends, just everyone who stuck by me in this last 10 months, surgery, recovery. Couldn't do without you guys. So I'm just excited to get back in there, put in a performance, show everyone, I'm back, who I really am, and get back on track to getting to where I know I belong in the UFC, and with due time, it's coming.
All right. Thank you for coming on. It was a pleasure to have you.
Appreciate it, brother.